Hello everyone. In this session we're going through variables and conditions. I've just copied the previous files from the previous session that we created, and I will use them as a boilerplate for all of our sessions. So let's get started with variables. So a variable is basically an alias or a nickname for a piece of value. For example, let's say we have the text of hello JavaScript, and let's say we want to store this value so we can use it multiple times inside our code. For creating a variable, we first type let. This is a command to define a variable. Then we say the name of the variable, which can be hello, and after that we need to assign the value to the variable, which we can do with an equal sign. So this is a variable. Now I simply can say console.log hello, which is it will log us the value that is stored in the hello. So let's say inside our code we have multiple lines of code that are using this variable, and the advantage of variables is that now if we want to change this value, we just change it once and it will be changed in all of our code. But if we haven't used variables and we just used simply like this, the value, if we want to change something, we need to change it for all of them. So now let me remove this. Okay, so that's how values work. We can also assign another value to this. So let's say first gonna log the hello JavaScript, and then I'm gonna change the value to something else, like hello gonna be hello to JavaScript. So let's save it and let's just run it. So as always I will use Chrome, and let's press F12, and here is hello JavaScript and the second log, which is hello to JavaScript. Alright, so now let's go to the data types. So we have a bunch of data types that we can use. This type of data that we are storing in the hello variable is called a string. When we have a text file, a text is basically in a string. So if I hold my mouse into my variable, you can see here it says it's of type string. So this is a string. JavaScript by default will set the data type, but we need to know the names because in conversions and in multiple places we can use them. So there is another data type which is numeric. So let's create a variable called age, for example, and here we have let's say 10. So we only put our values inside quotation or double quotation when they are a string and when they are text, but the numbers doesn't need to be inside double quotation or single quotation. If we put this into a quotation, and now you can see the age is of type string, and when we remove it you can see it's of type number. Alright, let's put number. We have another type which is of type boolean. Let's set a name for it first. Is internet connected. So the boolean type is a type that only takes two values. So like for this question, is internet connected, it can only have two values, yes or no. It's like 0 or 1, black or white. So it can only have two values, and it will be used for conditions where we want to see first if the internet is connected, do something, otherwise do something else. So the Boolean type will be useful in conditions. This is only can be true or false. We will set this as true. This is of type Boolean. There is also a type called undefined. Let's, for example, I'm gonna just name it test. And the undefined type is when we are not setting any value. So this is a variable and we haven't set any value to it yet. So it doesn't know what type it is. So it is undefined until we set a value. So we can have this variable. Let's first undefined, and we can have this variable, and we can then, after we specify the variable, we can set a value for it. Test going to be equal to, for example, a piece of text. And now it is a string. Here it is undefined. Then after we set a value, it will get a data type. Okay. And also there is objects, which we have a specific session for it. I'm not going to talk about objects in this session. So here is the variables. We also have another type of variables. Here is the let type of variables. When we set our variables as let, we can change these values. So here we have hello, which is equal to hello JavaScript, and you saw when I changed the value of the hello, I changed it to hello to JavaScript. So we can change the values, but there are specific values that we never gonna change. And for example, the p number. So let's say let p number gonna be equal to 314. Okay, so this number is never going to change, and we can save memory and save resource by setting this as const. So the const variable, the difference between const variable and let variable is that now we cannot change this number. We cannot change the value of this variable. So the only time that we can set a value for a const variable is when we are when it is undefined. So it can be a const number here, it can be undefined, and after that we can set a value for it. P number equal to 3.14, and here we can set a value. But if we have set a value where we are defining it, let's say 314, and here I'm going to put 3, and if we run this, it will give us an error because it's a const value and we are trying to reassign the value. So we can only assign a value to a const variable once. Alright, now let's move on to conditions. So we have multiple types of conditions. The first one that we're going to look at is if. The structure is like this. We say if, then we have two parentheses. Inside of the parentheses we put our condition. So like if age is more than 18. So this is our condition. Now we need to set a place for our code that if the condition is true to execute. So we have two brackets that will open and close, and inside of these two brackets any code that we write will be executed if the condition is true. That's basically it. And let's just say console.log, and here let's log hello. Alright, let's save it. Oh, first let's put this at 20, and if we refresh, here we can see it will console log, it will log us the hello JavaScript. So and let's put this back at 10, and if this is 10 it will do nothing. because we haven't said to do anything. So we have another type of conditions that is attached to if, which is else. Else always should be attached to an if. So else is when the condition is false. So we say if the age was more than 18, do something between these two brackets. Else which means anything else, that when the condition is not true. So if the age is any age below 18, all the code inside these two brackets will be executed. So let's say console.log. Let's log something like you're not verified. Verified. Okay, I think it's written like this. Okay, verified. So let's save it and hit refresh. You are not verified. And or you are not old enough. I think that's better. Alright, we have another type of conditions which will be between these two, and the name is else if. So else if is again connected to if. So here we have another we can have a continuous condition. So we say if age is more than 18, then we have another condition. For example, if age is equal to 18. So when you want to say if it's equal to something, we're not putting one equal sign, we put two equal sign. One equal sign is when we want to assign something to the variable. Two equal sign is for conditions. So we say else if age was equal to 18. Let's log something else, like your access will be limited. Okay, let's save it and let's put the age at 18. So when we say more than 18, the 18 itself will not be counted. Let's refresh, and it is saying that your access will be limited. So this is how it works. We can have as many else if as we want. So here let's go through that how it works. Here we have the first if the age is more than 18, this code will execute. But if there isn't, then we will check if the age is equal to 18, and if it wasn't, we go to the else, and we say if the age was anything else, do this. So we have another thing that I want to tell you, which is the brackets, and the brackets can be removed if our condition is only one line. So if the condition is only one line, we can remove the brackets. But if we have more than one line of code that we want to be executed if the condition is true, we should use brackets. So in here, I'm just having one line of command, which is console.log, and I can remove the brackets. And by one line, I don't mean that you can have the code like this and separate it by semicolon, because it will not work. You can see the else is giving me error. This will count as two line of command. So basically it's per command, it's not per line. So let's save it. That will work as worked before. Now let me just comment all of them. And let's go to another condition. Let's have the age. The last type of condition that I want to tell you is switch case. Switch case is basically, it's very simpler, and we have a switch, and it says we want to switch on what? We want to switch to something. We want to switch to age. So let's say we have age, then we have two brackets, And inside our switch, inside our brackets, we have cases. So we say in case the age, which we are focusing on, we say if the age was equal to 10, we have a colon, and after that anything that we write will be count as the things that we want to do. If the case was 10, the case will remain age if the age was 10. And then we say break, and we move on to the next case. So if the case was 11, do something, then break. So I will copy it, and we can have multiple lines. Let's say for 12, 13, 14, and 15. So it's for when we are gonna check multiple things, and it's gonna be a long list of if and else. So in that case, we won't use if and else because it is simpler, cleaner. We use switch case. But for simple if and else or simple conditions like here, we won't use switch case. Alright, now any code that is between this colon and the break will be executed if the age is 10. That's for 10, and for 11, 12, 13, they're all the same. So let's move on to the last piece of code, which is default and break. We don't give any value to default because default will act just like an else. So we say if the value in here, we say if the case was 10, 11, blah 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 blah, and it will get to the end of the case, which if it wasn't any of these values, it will run default, just like an else, which will run if the condition is false. So if it didn't find any match for the age, it will run any code between default, between the semicolon and the break. So thank you for watching. This is the end of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe for support, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.